Hikabtzu v'shimu, come around and gather and hear, Bnei Yaakov, the children of Jacob, v'shim'u el Israel, and listen to Israel, avichem, your father. Here goes the blessings of Jacob to his children. Reuven bechori ata, Reuben, my eldest, you are kochi vereshit oni, my strength and the beginning of myself. Yeter se'et, with overflowing power. V'yeter oz, and overflowing strength. Pachaz kamayim, flowing like water. Al totar, and brimming. Ki alita mishkavei avicha, but you went to the bed of your father. As chilalta, and there you desecrated Yitzuei Allah, those that came up from it, or the beds from it. Reuven slept with his father's concubine, the woman whose children were his brothers, and it was thought that he was too assertive over his brothers in demanding his birthright. And in the fashion of the stories, the birthright was not given to the eldest. And in fact, Reuven, because of his actions, was taken out, in a sense, from the birthright altogether, and replaced by the children of Joseph. Shimon v'Levi. Now the blessing goes to, or the vision of the end of days goes to Shimon and Levi. Achim klei Hamas, brothers, instruments of violence, macharotehem, are their acquaintances. B'sodam al tavo nafshi, in their secrets my soul should not come. B'kihilam al teichad, in their congregation I should not be alone. Kvodi, with my dignity should not be alone with it. Ki ba'apam hargu, because in their anger they killed the Ish people. Ubered sonam akulsho, and willingly they destroyed bulls. Arur apam, cursed is their anger. Ki az va'evratam, because it is violent. Va'avaratam, and their transgression. Ki kashta achalkam, is to divide their bows, Yaakov, in Jacob, va'afitzam b'Yisrael, and to distribute them in Israel. That these two tribes would not have their own lands, but they would be distributed in Israel. Such was Simeon and Levi. And then it goes on to the fourth, and that's Judah. Yehuda ata yuducha. To Judah, those will acknowledge you. Achicha yadcha, your brothers will acknowledge you. Yadcha, your hand. Be'oref oivecha, on the neck of your enemies, that you will control your enemies. Vayishtachavu lecha, and Bnei Avicha, and the children of your father will bow to you, and even amongst your own family they will bow to you. It is interesting that the word Yehuda has the etymology of yad, their hand, and the primaryship, the use of the hand, the ability to, what the hand brings, the control, so to speak, and the acknowledgement. The early Hebrew etymology from the mythology of the patriarchs and the originators of the people is very interesting. And the yud, the y and the d, the hand, is also played with a hay in the middle of it, or a vav in the middle of it, and therefore it is a name which is embedded deeply with grammar. Gur Aryeh Yehuda. Yehuda will be a lion. Miteref b'nei alita. It'll go and devour those that go up against it. Karara Vetzkaryeh. It'll go along the mountains like a tiger, and nothing can overcome it. Lo yasu shevet mi Yehuda. From Yehuda will never be the staff that represented its superiority would never disappear from Judah. Umechokek mi bein raglav, and the legislative force from between its legs, that it was always considered to be a royal and a dignified people that would always legislate and would be in control. Adki, until the time Yavo Shiloh, that they will come to Shiloh, V'lo yikhat amim, that they will come to Shiloh refers to the place where the covenant rested and came to for decades, even 100, 217 years, or that amount, before it arrived in Jerusalem. So that it continues. Osrei legef in iro, about Judah, the blessings of Judah. It says, those that connect, osrei legefin iro, those that connect to the grapevines of its city. V'lesreka b'nei otno, and who connect their mules alongside the cities of Judah. Kabes beyayin levusho, they will wash in wine their clothes. Ubedam anavim soto, and they will wash their clothes in grape juice. That means that the bounty of Judah will be great, and the glory and the happiness of Judah, wine and celebration and acknowledgement of plenty will be from Judah and those that associate with Judah. The eyes of Judah are the colors of wine, possibly drunk and happy. Ulavanshinaim, and the teeth of Judah is white. This is an affirmative blessing to Judah. And the next child, Zvulun lechof yamim yishkon. Zvulun, it will live well on the seas. V'hu lechof oniot, on the seas with ships. V'yechato al tzidon, that will will go on the coast, on the thighs of the coast, all the way to Sidon. That would infer that they were the sea people, the Phoenicians, or associated with sailing with distant nations. Also an assimilatory idea which connects Israel to the nations of the earth. Yissachar, the next child, Chamor Garam Rovetz Bein HaMishpatayim. It will be like a donkey, a heavy donkey that goes in the folds of the mountains. Vayar Mincha, he sees something nice to eat, Kitov, that it's good, that the Aretz Ki Ne'eman, the country is pleasant. Vayechi, and he puts down his shoulder, his ball to suffer. Vahi Lamas Oved, and he will be a taxed servant. And the next child, Dan Yadin Amor, Dan Yadin Amor will judge his people, Israel, like one of the tribes of Israel, and that refers to Samson, who was one of the great judges of Israel from the tribe of Gad, which would suggest that these blessings or this vision comes from a period after Samson, and possibly in the time of David, where the identity of Israel was being constructed or viewed or applied to nation building. Sure, I give it here. And then the next child, Gad Gedud Yegudeno, V'hu Yagud Ekev. Now this is etymological teaching. It mentions 5 times the word Gad and Gedud and Yegudeno, V'hu Yagud Ekev, and it suggests the way that the words are constructed and what their meaning is. From this we can understand all sorts of other root words. So really this is giving the basis of words and constructs and grammar and the invisualization, that process of invisualizing description with words, and and especially the agricultural terminology in this new language that seems to be at this time being developed. Gad comes also part of the hand. The Gad means it's a goat, but it could refer to the feet of the goat that grab onto the ground and are very agile and hold on. And Yagud means to group together. And like the Agada, the thumb is the Gada. It brings together and groups together the whole hand. And also the word to speak, to say with lahagid, that possibly refers to bring together the lips into a position as an instrument to hold on to something. So all of these make reference to the word Gad. So Gad Gedud Yugudeno. Gad will come together Yugudno. He will come together. V'hu Yagud Ekev, and he will speak Ekev of the heel. Ekev is also the name of Jacob. Ekev means heel, but it also refers to Gad would follow the heels. Gad were a form of trackers and soldiers that were eventually given land on the other side of the Jordan, but they fought with all their brothers inside Israel, conquering the land. So they would go back on their heels all the way back to the Jordan. They would follow. They would be loyal with their brothers and then go back. But it goes on to the next son, Asher. Me Asher shmeina lachmo. Asher is fat. His bread is fat. Hu yiten ma'adanei melech, and he will prepare and give delicacies of the king. So that refers to the land of plenty, the wheat growing district, which would service the armies of the kings which would be passing through. Naphtali, and the next child, Naphtali ayala shlucha hanoten imrei shafer. Naphtali is like a deer which has been sent away, which makes pleasant sounds. And then comes the next child, Ben Porat Yosef, son of the vine of Joseph, or son of the fruitful, Porat. It comes of the Hebrew word pri, or the Aramaic, it's suggested. But Porat, pri, and also fruit is the same, seems as being the same etymology. Ben Porat, the son of the fruit of Joseph. Ben Porat Ale Ayin, the son of the fruits of the leaves of the spring, of the vines that come up along the spring. Some say that these are grapes, but not Sa'adah, daughters, hunting daughters, the eye of the spring and the eye of young women who liked Joseph and thought that he was handsome. Sa'adah Ale Shor, like vines growing up, singing. Such is a blessing to Joseph. Vayimeru v'rubu vayistamu ba'alei chitzim, and they will be embittered, and the many, and they will be blocked, those who have arrows against Joseph. The arrows will be blocked. V'teshev be'etan, and they will be returned strongly. Kashtor, his bow will return strongly. The bow of Joseph. Vayipazul zo'ei yadav, and the scatterers of hands will be dispersed or reflected. Midei Avir Yaakov, by the hands of the knight of Jacob. Misham, from there, Ro'eh Even Yisrael, the shepherd, the stone of Israel. This is a very unusual blessing and very unique, and it is given to Joseph, and for obvious reasons. Joseph, the viceroy of Egypt, the master of surplus, and the visionary, and the founder and the recorder of the story of his father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the founder of the Israelite nation in Egypt, and with his foresight was able to put this story into motion. And the blessing keeps going. Ma'al avicha vayezrecha, me'el avicha, from the God of your father, vayezrecha, and helper. Ve'et Shaddai, and from Shaddai. Shaddai being the ancient, or the original, the authentic God of Jacob, and a Canaanite God. Vayivarecha, and he will bless you. Birchat Shamayim, the blessings of heaven. Me'al, from on high. Birchat Tahom, the blessings of the abyss. Rovetzet Tachat, which exists below. Birchat Shaddayim, blessings of the breast. V'racham, and of the womb. Birchot avicha gavru. The blessings of your father are great. Al birchot horai, on the blessings of my parents. Ad ta'avad gavaot, till the indulgence of everlasting mountains, tihiena. They will be for you, la rosh Yosef, for the head of Joseph, ula kod, and to the corner, Nazir, of the selected one, Echav, of his brothers. Such was a blessing to Joseph. Indeed, it was of glory and marvel and positive. And the next son, Binyamin Ze'ev Yitrof, Benjamin, like a wolf, will devour Baboker, in the morning. Yochal ad, he'll eat until satisfied. Vela erev, and in the evening, Yichalek Shalal, he will distribute the leftovers. Seems like a rough type. Kol ele shivtei Yisrael, all of these are the tribes of Israel. Shnei Masar, 12. V'zot asher diber lahem, and this what was spoken to them, avihem, their father. Vayivarech otam, and he blessed them. Ish asher kebirchato, every man, person, according to his blessing. Barech otam, he blessed them. Vayitzav otam, and he commanded them. Vayomer alehem, and he said to them, Ani ne'esaf el ami, I am collected to my people. Kivru oti, bury me, el avotai, with my fathers. El ha'me'ara, at the cave. Asher b'sadeh Ephron, in the field of Ephron Hachiti, the Hittite. B'me'ara asher b'sadeh ha'mechpala, in the cave which is in the field in the double field. Asher al Pnei Mamre, which is on the face of Mamre, be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. Asher kana Avraham, which Abraham brought. Et hasadeh, the field, me'et Ephron, from Ephron, Hachiti, the Hittite, la'achuzat kever, for a burial holding. Shama kavur et Avraham, there was buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. And there they were buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife. There I buried Leah. Mikneh hasadeh v'amar asher bo me'et bnei, the purchase of the field, the double field, there is from the children of Chet. Vayechal Yaakov letzavot, and Jacob finished commanding his children. Vayasof raglav, and he collected his legs, el hamita, to the bed. Vayigva v'yasof el amo, and he became a corpse, and he was collected to his people. And Joseph cried, and he kissed his father, and he commanded the doctors and his servants to mummify his father. And they mummified him. And they cried and mourned for him for 40 days, and then 70 days. And then Joseph turned to the house of Pharaoh and requested of the Pharaoh to take his father on a procession to bury him in his ancestral burial home and in the land of Canaan. Here, Joseph becomes the foundational layer in the formation of Israel. under the text, which is very, very possible with Joseph, who was a reader of dreams and an interpreter and an advisor on these ideas to Pharaoh. But under the text is the entire story of the Bible. Here, where Joseph mummifies his father, which is reserved just for the royalty and for the elites of Egypt, and sends him in a large and burial procession with the elders of Egypt and the leadership and those who knew him and those who knew his father, to the ancestral homeland, where he himself and his children were promised land. Here he was bringing the greatness of the Egyptian empire into Canaan, and it just so happens that the archaeological record shows that indeed there was an Egyptian presence in Canaan around that time that this was supposed to have taken place. And likewise, there was a Canaanite presence in Egypt around these times too. So this story brings together the alliance almost, and the reasons for the alliance. And in addition, under the text is a marvelous, tantalizing idea that as Joseph mummifies his father and mourns his father, the tradition is to collect the tools and to send his father, the beloved one, on the great journey into the unknown, to collect all the possessions and write the story of the person about to go on that journey. And this sets a backdrop for the telling of the story of Jacob, of his ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it creates a proto-myth that just as Jacob is about to be taken and buried and taken with all his tools ready to be buried later on, this becomes a proto-ark. And just as Joseph now is about to set down the way in which he will treat his father and bury him with a set of rituals and mourning and indignity, and therefore claim ensure that his burial place will be known and respected forever under the Egyptian protection. But it was so Joseph is putting together a circumstance which will only later be followed by the character which appears very soon after in the next book, the character of Moses, which discovers Joseph. And how do we know that he discovers Joseph? Because we will discover later Moses takes Joseph's bones out of Egypt in a very similar way that Joseph is now going to take Jacob's bones out of Egypt. The story being told here would be buried with Joseph in Joseph's royal tomb, only to be discovered possibly 100 or 200 years later by a descendant of his who was also privy to royal privilege, Moses. So there is a lot of innuendo here, which is very characteristic of Joseph, the dream interpreter.